Alright, so we're going to do the brakes and rotors, rear brakes and rotors on a 2005 Toyota Sienna. Just want to start off, make sure before you open anything that you have all the stuff that you need, just in case you have to run out and get it. So we have a 12 millimeter socket, a 12 millimeter little extra bolt. You're going to need brake caliper loop, a 14 millimeter open wrench, a flathead screwdriver. You're going to need the 14 millimeter 3/4 inch ratchet. You're going to need a 17 millimeter, preferably a ½ inch ratchet, it's more stronger, and then a ratchet or something with the correct size for your lug nuts to come out, and a rag for cleaning, and this little magnetic bowl just to keep all the stuff organized, and this mat or something that you can sit on so that you're not in too much pain. And if you're a glove person, go ahead and get yourself a pair of gloves. So first, before you raise the car, make sure that you have the jack positioned, ready to go, but do not raise the car yet. You're going to just loosen up your bolts, and after you loosen it, then we're going to raise the car. And make sure that there's nowhere for your car to go, like we have that sidewalk, so we're good to go, but otherwise you would have to put some kind of safety brackets in front. So I'm going to pause the video and loosen the bolts. Okay, we have raised the vehicle enough so that it's off the ground. You don't want to raise it too high for no reason. And we're going to now completely remove the bolts. So at this point, if you have a bit that you can just put it on there and just take them off like this. That's what I do. Everybody has a different way of doing stuff, but just do that. I have to shake it around a little. And if it's too tight, let's add this guy on here. Right now the tire and wheel are out of the way, and here we have it, the rotor, caliper, and brakes. What you're going to do now is loosen up this bolt here, okay, and the matching one below, right here, this one, and that one requires the number 14 socket, so I'm going to go ahead and do that and get that out of the way before we do the number 17 to get the whole thing off. Also, I want to remind you that the righty-tighty thing does apply here, but remember that it has to be from the perspective as if you're standing on the other side, not from where you're sitting, because you're going to end up over tightening it and possibly breaking something inside, so just let you know. Alright, so it's not the easiest thing to do, taking off these bolts, but if it's giving you trouble, just squirt a little bit of this liquid wrench stuff, penetrating oil, only on the bolt. Alright, and let it sit for a few minutes. And so my bolt was spinning, so I just put the open wrench right here on this bolt that's on the boot cover. So I put that there, and I'm just going to let that sit for a few seconds. Okay, so you remove this bolt, the number 14, and the one that was on the bottom here. Okay, and then what you're going to do is detach the caliper and just rest it back here somewhere. You don't want to hang it or anything like that because it does have a brake line running to it, and you don't want to just hang it like that. So now that you have freed up access to the number 17 bolt, which is this one and this one, you can go ahead and open that up so that you can take apart the whole entire brake assembly. Okay, so I ended up using a torque wrench with that bit number 17 on it to get these loose after I sprayed a little bit of that lubricant stuff on them. Just a reminder, don't struggle with it too much because you are on this little tiny jack and you can actually push your car off of the jack and this entire thing will end up on your legs. So yeah, not very nice. So just a little heads up. Okay, I'm going to take off those bolts and I'm going to remove this and put it on the ground. There's the brake assembly. Don't be quick to just taking apart the old pads because there's one with this little sticking out metal thing and you don't want to put the wrong one on the wrong side. Alright, we have a visitor, B. Alright, you go. Last thing I need is to be stung by a bee. My nails are messed up. Sitting on the ground, and then a bee comes. Yes, that's right, go away. Okay, so we're going to try to match up the pieces. So this one looks like that shape. And you're just going to get it out of the way. Not a good idea to do this without gloves because there's these little sharp particles. Oh shoot. Don't put it the wrong way. It's like, this doesn't look familiar. Yeah, that would not be good. I know these guys are like, what is she doing? Okay, so then you flip it around, and if you have taken it out in a hurry, I've done it before, and you were not paying attention to which one was the one with the little metal thing that sticks out like this here. Oh shit, you should not touch the brakes with your greasy hands either. But that was the reason I had this red rag here. The bee scared me and messed me up. Okay, so if you have done that, just remember that the caliper presses on the brakes. So the caliper is going to leave this big giant ring on the brakes, and so that piece is the one that has that little thing that sticks out. And I hope I'm not making it too complicated for you. And if you look at this assembly, the caliper is on the inside, on the opposite side, not on the front. I mean the press, the little pump press thingy, not the caliper. But anyway, so that should be on the inside. Okay, yeah, this is like this. Okay, it's like that. And so that piece with the little thing that sticks out should be on that side. Okay, so here it is. Here's the new one. We're going to just and I know this thing just slides in wherever the heck it wants to, but try to have it flush. And as I said, try to prevent from touching these parts on the inside, because that's what grips. Next, we're going to remove these bolts from the boot cover, like so, and remove them and kind of wipe them down and put fresh grease, this lube, brake caliper lubricant on them, and then insert them back in there. So I'm going to do that. Alright, so the brakes are assembled and put away far away from here where it can possibly get contaminated, and just pick up these old ones and put them in the box of the new ones. So you can put them away. And so I had just got these ones. These were apparently the top of the line, so ultra premium. I don't like to get the cheap ones, but on the rotors I went with the medium grade AC Delco Advantage. This one here. Okay. So that one, have it already out of the package and stuff so that you can just quickly do the transition. What you're going to do now is see if it's loose enough to come off. If not, this is where that 12mm little bolt's going to come in handy. So you're going to turn a little left to get it in the right place, and then turn it right. And I have a ratchet with the 12 on there already. Oh. Keep everything in that tray. I'm telling you, you're going to regret it. Make sure that you're going to go on the tightening, as if you're putting that screw into the vehicle, into the rotor. So you're just turning, and what it's doing is pressing against the car to push the rotor out. Okay? Okay, then take the screw back out so you can use it for the other hole. My hands are so bad right now. Oh my god, I should have worn gloves. It is with me and gloves. That's not gonna work. Okay. Oh, it should be loose enough now. Alright, and there is your entire internal brake parts. This is the part you're supposed to spray with brake parts cleaner. Alright, so the new rotor is on. What you're going to do now is put your brake on. Okay, so we're going to make sure it's clean. Okay, so okay, there we are. Okay, so now at this point you're going to put your number 17 bolts back on. Make sure that the brake is securely behind where it was, and then put the 17 inch Okay, so that is on there now. Looks nice. So what you're going to do is adjust the tensioner a little bit now. And the way you do that, it shouldn't make that noise. So you're going to insert a flathead screwdriver in here. And you're going to feel this little riveted thing with, it's a tensioner. So you're just going to turn it up to loosen it a little bit. Make sure that you remember that when you put the wheel on, it's going to be pushed in more, so you're not loosening it too much. Just a little bit more. Alright, once you feel that that's correctly moving, kind of like that, doesn't make too much noise, whatever. Then you're going to get your caliper from back there where you've been resting it. Oh god, this thing is so heavy. Okay. What you're going to do is you're going to push that thing in. The caliper part presses down on your brakes, and as your brakes are wearing down, they come out more, so you have to push it back. It's kind of like resetting it to where it's flush against the wall. You can use a wrench, a monkey wrench or whatever it's called, or you can use a crowbar, whatever works. Just press the damn thing. I don't even know if I'm supposed to do this or not, but there's a hole right there, so I just stick a crowbar in it and I just start pushing it down from here, and it gets flat. So as long as it's not damaging anything, it should be fine. Okay, once it's flat like that, just go ahead and kind of grab there's a cat, okay. Just push the front part in, and if you see any obstruction, most likely it's this bolt that is the one you lubricated earlier. It's probably sprung out. What you're going to do is you're going to push it in and then put this above it like that. Make sure the bottom one is the same. Okay? And then you're going to put those bolts back on, which were those 14-inch ones. They're kind of short. I mean, not inch, sorry, millimeter. 14-inch bolt in here. Okay. It's these ones here. 14 millimeter. So, if during my video you heard the word inch referring to any of the bolt sizes, please, it's millimeters, sorry. Right, sometimes the new rotors don't have this little rubber cover thing. Just grab it off your old one and put it on after you clean it, just so you don't get extra brake dust in there. Okay, now make sure the bolts are tight. You've done the number 17s, the 14s. Everything seems fine. Then you're going to put your wheel back on. Okay, so get your wheel on there and tighten in a star pattern like you're making a star, like you're drawing a star. So this one, this one, this one, this one, this one, like that, okay? Okay, and then I kind of give it a little shake here and there, make sure that All the bolts were tightened evenly, but not over tightened yet, because of course you can't over tighten it because the wheel's spinning because it's on the jack. And what I do is I now lower the vehicle and then proceed to tightening it further.